So my name is Andisa Ntsubane. I look after marketing at Vodacom Group across all of our markets on the African continent. And I've worked across the African continent. I've been to 34 countries in Africa. I was Africa's Marketing Leader of the Year in 2021. And most recently, I was the global president of the B2B jury at Cannes, which was really one of the greatest honors of my life, to really look and work and lead creatives from around the world. I think the first thing to say is this is not a bad meeting. Like, we can really be proud of the work that marketers in South Africa and on the continent are doing. And that work is being recognized globally. And when I certainly look at the work and interact with other people from around the world, I think we have something really, really special here in South Africa and the African continent. I talk about how the most successful companies in the world solve problems, and they make a shitload of money doing it. And if you think about it, the continent of Africa has the most problems. So in fact, we represent the single largest opportunity for brands to solve problems and also make commercial benefits in terms of the work that they're doing. And so when you think about the skill that marketers have to have who work on the continent, it's a fundamentally different starting point, because we're dealing with socioeconomic challenges. We're dealing with some of the big issues that are restraining us from some of the benefits that first world countries have. And all of that takes creativity, all of that takes innovation, and it also takes a mindset, which is also about the hustler mindset. And when I look at African marketers versus people who work and who do work and who work on brands in the first world, I certainly think we have something quite unique in terms of our starting point, which I think gives us a fundamental advantage from that perspective. And in addition to that, we have seen the growth of the presence of Africa in terms of its contribution to the global world of marketing and advertising and creativity. And we spoke about Cannes. I mean, I've been going to Cannes, it'll be my 9th year this year. And 9 years ago, if you saw one person who looked like you or someone from Africa in Cannes, it was a big hug, like, where are you from? And today, we have far more representation from the continent at Cannes than we've ever had before. And what's even more encouraging is that we've got more people from the continent who are judging work, which is also a critical part of it, because sometimes we haven't been winning at these global stages because people don't have the context of the environment within which we are developing these creative solutions. And so it's so, so important that we have people who understand our context sitting on all of those panels and juries, making sure that our voice is heard in terms of the context. It's nice to look at a piece of creative work and outcomes and performance, but it's also more important to be looking at kind of that creative context from that perspective. And so I really do believe that some of the work that we are doing here far surpasses some of the work that I've certainly seen globally. And I think some of our people are doing truly amazing things, not just on the African continent, but on the world stage. And I think that's something that can all truly, truly be proud of. I know it's difficult. I know it's a thankless job, and it's relentless on us as marketeers, because everything's nothing's always right. I used to work at Old Mutual, and I see my former peers sitting at the back there. We used to have a saying at Old Mutual: what's the difference between a marketer and an actuary? Marketers don't think they're actuaries, because everyone thinks they're a marketer. And so it can be a thankless job. But I do want to really say to all of you that we can be proud of the work that we're producing. We can be proud of the creative ideas that are coming out of this beautiful continent and the impact that we're having on the global stage. And why not? This imposter syndrome that we seem to have, I think, needs to go away, because if you look at music, we are smashing it. If you look at fashion, we are smashing it. If you look at all the other creative codes, we're doing a great job in terms of the rise of the content. And that must really be for marketing and for creativity.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm going to skip ahead. I actually just want to build on this, the concept of showcasing African creative power and how they're harnessing how South African businesses, regional businesses, and global businesses are accessing this incredibly rich, diverse talent pool. So one of the conversations Andisa and I have been having is around a couple of trends that we're seeing where UK and US international businesses are coming to South Africa as an exciting nearshore market from a talent perspective. And so what you have is this wonderful, you've got this rich, diverse, creative pool of talent that has cultural alignment and cultural diversity, importantly, in the same time zone. English for speaking. We've got this wonderful trend. So this convergence as they look to scale, create a more agile, more flexible way of augmenting their teams. And so we've seen the tier one communications agencies, we've seen big UK, US brands moving into our markets from a talent perspective. And we've put in-house teams in place, fully dedicated on site, right the way to contrasting and flexible and a more augmented way of accessing freelancers and our professional, critical and scarce skills in the industry. So just as a little bit of a futuristic view in terms of what you see in your exposure to the international CMOs, international brands, as well as across the South African market, what are you seeing in that trend that we're seeing with some of our international clients?
Yeah, I think it's an exciting time. And to be clear, there are global companies that are hiring South African talent based here, delivering services and work for them in the UK, in the US, in Europe. And I think it's absolutely exciting what it does for our industry, what it does for economic growth. And I know there's a big cost benefit to them, but surely the other part is about the recognition of the talent that resides here. Our agency, Ogilvy, is the digital center of excellence for KFC worldwide. So they deliver all digital for KFC around the world from here, from South Africa. And so those things are really, really important to, again, re-emphasize that we've been having it. We've got great skill, great talent in this country. And I think we need a fundamental reset because sometimes it has been this onslaught of like, are we capable? Do we know what we need to do? And our understanding gives people work to do around commercial acumen, data, AI integration, all those various things. But I do think we need to be proud of the really, really sought after talent that we have in this country. And so in terms of trends and insights, and certainly for me on a personal level, there's a couple of things at play. So the first thing at play is many people ask me the fundamental question, is it better to be a specialist or a generalist? And there's a very powerful book. It's called Range, Range, that I would highly recommend to all of you. And it talks about the importance of range in a highly specialized world. Daniel, someone or other, forgot the name now. So range is the first thing. And I think it is so important for all of us to have this ongoing learning around the skill set, because when you become a CMO, you're managing a multitude of different pieces of the puzzle that you're not necessarily the expert in. I mean, we're using a lot of data and AI. I know Uli talked about what they're doing at Nedbank. We have over 600 data points on every single customer as Vodacom. We know what time you wake up, we know what time you sleep, we know which sites you serve, we know which naughty sites you serve, we know you live, we know where you step from, get SEO. We have all of this. And how do you start learning about data and integration and how you use marketing to market there and building hypotheses of models around core customer insights to drive that growth? And so the data team will come to me and they'll say to me, and these are an hypothesis. And they go, and they go, we hypothesize that people who wake up between 4 and 6 in the morning are likely to be more creditworthy than people who wake up between 6 and 9. Now I can see some of you saying, oh, 10 to 8. But that's an interesting proposition. And then we kind of test it out. So we give these guys more credit and just kind of see how that works. How are you using data as a part of really integrating and trying to find that growth. So some of those pieces are really, really important. I think also what's important is to really start building the social or personal aspects of our roles. Because marketing, more than any other role, is one that has to be the orchestrator and work across multiple functions within the organization to try and drive that enterprise-wide initiatives and strategies. And part of that is about learning and being able to have that interpersonal skill to drive influence in areas that don't necessarily report to you. And that's a critical piece of the puzzle. So I think we've got great opportunities. I think we'll play a significant role across multiple areas and on different forums that are driving the global agenda on a world basis. Kenzie from NetBank recently got appointed to the International Advertising Association's Global Board. And that board is really helping to shape the future of the marketing and communications industry. And we have our very own people who are being represented on forums like that and really giving input into where we can really take this industry, not just on an African basis, but across the entire world. So I'm really excited about where we are, what we represent, and the contribution and the ear that we've been given on global, international marketing and advertising forums.
So thank you, Andisa. So one more question for Andisa, just one more topic which we'll discuss, and then we'll hold it there and we'll see if there's any questions in the audience. So just give you a heads up, got anything interesting to ask. Andisa's ready. So before everyone, let's get a little bit closer to home, before everyone here and all the CMOs go, well, we don't know if we like HelloKindred because they've asked to come and take all our people and create a nearshore solution for their UK clients. I'd like to ask, Andisa, just to talk to us a little bit about local talent strategies. And so what we have just done and survived is the largest work from home experiment known in professional clients. And our teams are different. Our careers are different. And the people we are engaging with, whether they're corporate CMOs or within our talent pool, are looking at things very differently. It is no longer a case of a full-time employee based in Sandton for every piece of work we need to do. And so we're seeing this change in nearshore teams, offshore creative hubs, our clients putting down, creative centers of excellence in Cape Town. We've moved to the shift in remote working. We've got the concept of we've got the impact of AI augmenting our work. And obviously gig and freelancers. And that creates a very complex environment for marketing executives and marketing CMOs to access the right skills and to access the right people. So closer to home, advice you have for the community in terms of thinking about talent differently and how to leverage this one asset that we have.
Yeah, so from my side, I'm very clear that you've got to have an organized way in which you think about this, because otherwise it's shiny toys everywhere and you can find yourself making the wrong decision. And so it all starts with your strategy. And what is your strategy and the business strategy? And the role of marketing is to kind of support that business strategy, which is really, really important. And so once you clear out the business strategies, the next thing is about clarifying the role of marketing within that context. And I can promise you now, you'll be so surprised at some organizations there's a fundamental disconnect between what the function is doing and what the expectation about the function should be doing. And so clarifying the role of marketing organization is almost the most critical point. Because if you can't agree on the role, then everything else that you're doing there is just kind of not that you won't succeed. The second part is about being very clear from an operating model and design principles around how you're going to support that role, and be clear on what are the capabilities and skills that you need now and in the future to help deliver on that long-term business strategy, which I think is absolutely good. And part of that is also saying back to the strategy, and we're having interesting conversations around one of the big strategies that we have at Vodacom at the moment is we want to go back to humanizing the brand, Peter. When people think about Vodacom, in 2025, I asked people, Vodacom, what comes to mind? And people say, Yebo Gogo. Well, that was 30 years ago. 30 years ago, people say Yebo Gogo. And the brand was it represented, it launched at the dawn of democracy. The brand represented a hope and optimism. And we were a brand that was warm, emotional connection and heart and all the rest of it. And we've kind of lost a bit of that. And the brand is quite functional at the moment. Product, price, devices, all the rest of that. And we want to humanize the brand. It's a core part of our strategy going forward, to be a really human-centric brand.
Okay.
But what does that mean in the context of AI? Would we ever produce a 100% AI commercial if our strategy is to be a human-centric brand? These are some of the conversations, but the point I'm making is it starts with strategy. Otherwise, you just jump to a shiny AI. And so those pieces are really, really critical around how you skate to where the puck is going to be and really build and create and invest in the right capabilities and skills and tools and platforms that enable you to unlock that strategy into the future. And then I guess in terms of what that would look like, I think you'll have a hybrid of multiple things that play at the same time. You'll have people working in your business that are not in the same country, never mind working for in the future. You'll have capabilities and skills. I mean, we've got people sitting in India doing some of the analysis on some of the things that we're going to do. I think you're going to have a range of new capabilities that we haven't even let into in some of our organizations. We spend a huge amount of time on behavioral science in our marketing function at the moment to really help us around improving a lot of things that are adding great value to us from that perspective. So there's not one size fits all, but strategy is kind of at the center of how you build that vision for what you need to drive.
No, I think dealing with business strategy, I think a talent strategy to follow. Very great takeaway. We are out of time. We have a red screen. I don't know if we've got an opportunity for questions. One crafty hard question or a couple of easy. Any question?
I wanted to ask, so if you are a business that serves the lower end, the same market, just as South African, how do you use AI and technology, for example, to kind of like tap into that market, but without also losing the context that in as much as we are moving forward when it comes to technology and AI, there's also a very huge part of the South African market that is still a little bit behind when it comes to digital transformation. How do we use AI in a way that we don't leave them behind, especially if they're the big part of your business? How do you cater to that market and make sure that you're also not staying behind in terms of transforming your business digitally and using all the digital resources that you have to make sure that you capitalize and grow your brand?
Sure. So our businesses fundamentally change. I think Woody talked about it a little bit earlier. But in terms of our business, the core business of telco is declining around the world, not just in Africa, because as she says, voice used to be the big thing and people aren't calling anymore. And I was asked, Andisa, go to a focus group, and I went to the wire, I went to this focus group and the facilitator said to this group of young millennials, why don't you do normal calls anymore? And then one of the responses was, oh, what's a normal call? It was quite profound because their WhatsApp call, and so the core business is in decline. And actually what we've done is we've used data and insights to start a new business. And that business is in financial services. So our financial services business is growing double digit. We have a big lending business. So one of the things from a lending perspective is about 38% of people buy airtime, buy it on credit. There's something called airtime advance. So we give you the airtime, and when you top up, we take a percentage of that, so the whole lending piece. We have M-Pesa that we have across multiple markets, and M-Pesa was created on the basis of creating access from a financial inclusion point of view and bringing people into the financial ecosystem that didn't otherwise have access to mobile money payments, and mobile money payments, Africa is leading the world in some of the things that we're doing in mobile money payments. So how are we using technology to help drive financial inclusion, help bridge the digital divide, but now offer services and solutions that people would never otherwise have? And one of the things that we're doing is this financial services through lending, services through insurance. We have 47 million customers. You insure your device, we're insuring household contents. We have a whole new business that's now growing around 20%. That is built off insights around how consumers, specifically in that bottom end of the market, are behaving, and we're able to offer them solutions. So technology is going to play a really important role in helping to surface some of those opportunities while helping to provide some of the solutions that people don't have.